Howdy folks, and welcome to my Magicka Sorcerer build for solo arenas that I like to call cheap tricks. Mainly because the gear is either extremely cheap to buy in guild stores or very easy to get. So this is a High Elf Sorcerer. Now, Magicka Sorcerer is probably the most popular class in the game, and High Elf is the most popular race choice for this class. I put 64 points into Magicka. I'm using the Thief Mundustone and also the Ghastly Eyeball food, which gives you Magicka and Magicka recovery. With this setup, I'm sitting at 34 almost K Magicka, 21k, almost 22 health, and 13k stamina, with 1600 Magicka recovery. Now, as I mentioned, the gear that I'm using is extremely easy and cheap to get. So I'm using Ice Heart Monster Set. This gives you a critical chance, and when you deal critical damage, you have a 20% chance to gain a damage shield that absorbs 5k damage for 6 seconds. While the damage shield holds, you deal 1k frost damage to all enemies within 5 meters. Now, this is, and this has been, the best set for solo content, monster set for solo content in the game for a long time. Mainly because it gives you critical chance and it gives you 5k shields. The first set that I'm using is a set that majority of the player base is sleeping on. I've been using this set for ages, basically since the day that I've learned that this set exists. And the set is called Withered Hand. What this set gives you is Magicka recovery, maximum Magicka, maximum health, and when you are within 28 meters of an enemy you are in combat with, and the enemy dies, you heal for 1600 health and you gain 1600 Magicka. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. Now, since this setup doesn't use the Pale Order ring, the mythic item, this one, and it also doesn't use False God's Devotion, which is a trial set from Sunspire, this one here. This set provides almost the same effect as False God and Pale Order. I say almost because first of all it doesn't have the Minor Slayer, and second of all the healing and the Magicka recovery is less than with the Pale Order ring and False God. But this is a set that you can either farm in Alekir Desert or you can buy it extremely cheap in guild stores. Now, the second set that I use is a craftable set, New Moon Acolyte. What this gives you is crit chance, weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration, and more weapon and spell damage. There is a downside to using this set. It increases the cost of your active abilities by 5%. But we don't really care about that. Now, as you can see, the only gold pieces are the monster set and the weapons. Everything else is purple or blue. You don't have to craft the purple jewelry for New Moon Acolytes. What you can do is use 2 pieces, for example, chest, legs of Withered Hand, and you can buy purple jewelry of Withered Hand in guild stores and use the weapon and 3 pieces of New Moon Acolyte. You can mix and match these however you like. Now I'm using on this set the Maelstrom perfected Inferno Staff. This is not necessary. You can either use New Moon Acolyte's Inferno Staff on back bar, or you can just farm the normal Maelstrom Arena Inferno Staff. The perfected version gives you 1.2k penetration, which you don't really care about. And normal Maelstrom Arena takes about 20 minutes. Everything dies really quickly, so you can have this after a couple of runs. It's really easy to get the normal, non-perfected version. And it helps a lot. So this is a setup that I would recommend, to have at least the non-perfected Inferno Staff on the back bar. Now, as I mentioned, I'm sitting at 33.6k Magicka, 21k health, 13k stamina. The spell crits is 33%, which is not bad. Not particularly good, but not particularly bad. But look at the spell damage. 3.5k. Now, this is without the crit surge. So for the skills that I'm using on the pet setup, as you can see, there is a non-pet setup here as well, because especially in Maelstrom Arena, pets die surprisingly quickly. There are AoEs, for example, the spider boss. There are AoEs and your pet will just die within seconds. So for some content I use pets, for some content I don't. Now for the pet build, the first skill that I use is Streak. This is like the escape tool. Extremely useful, especially in Vateshran Hollows with the last boss. Second skill is Volatile Familiar. You can use either this one or you can use the Matriarch. That's the other morph of this Twilight Tormentor skill. That one heals you, but I use the Familiar for the damage. Next skill, Elemental Drain, for your Magicka Sustain and Penetration. Crystal Frags, you use them when they proc. Crushing Shock is your main spammable. Now on the front bar I'm using Greater Storm Atronach. One of the reasons is is it here? Nope. Yes, this one, Expert Mage. Increases your weapon and spell damage by 2% for each sorcerer ability slotted. So this one, this one, this one, and this one, 8%. And this is, for a single target, the best ultimate that you can use. Now on the back bar, Hardened Ward, that's fantastic shield. Scamp again, because you need to have it slotted on both bars. Boundless Storm, which gives you some movement speed, Major Expedition for 4 seconds, and 6k resistances. Crit Surge, this is here because I don't use the Pale Order on this build. So this provides Major Brutality and Sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20% for 33 seconds. And also, while active, any critical damage that you do is healing you for 3.4k health. Now, the damage, 3.5. If you use this, 4.1. 4.6 on the front bar. Right? This is a very respectable damage. Now, the last skill on the second bar is Unstable Wall of Fire. And I'm using the Fiery Rage Ultimate, which is a Destruction Staff Ultimate here, for multiple enemies. Now, there is a second setup that doesn't use pets. And the difference is that on the front bar, I'm using Consuming Trap, which is down here. What this gives you is 14,000 magic damage over 10 seconds, which is very nice. And if an affected enemy dies, you fill an empty soul gem, but you don't care about that one. What you care about is you heal for 4k, and you also restore 6.7k magicka and 2.6k stamina. Right, this is extremely useful sustain tool. With this Withered Hand and Ice Heart, you've got fantastic sustain, fantastic survivability, and with the Newman Acolyte you have very respectable damage. And the next skill on the front bar, instead of the Elemental Drain, I use the Execute, Endless Fury. I use this morph because if you kill the enemy within 5 seconds of using this Endless Fury ability, you restore 4.8k magicka. So this 5% increase of Newman Acolyte, you don't care about that. You don't care. It doesn't matter. And on the back bar, instead of the pets, I'm using the Elemental Drain. Everything else stays the same, the skill stays the same. Now for the champion points, very easy. Green tree, use whatever you like. Now the blue tree, there is one fantastic champion point node, which is called Reaving Blows. When you deal direct damage, you heal for 7% of the damage done. You don't really need the Ring of Pale Order with this setup. You don't need mythic items, you don't need trial gear. You've got plenty of sustain, plenty of damage, and plenty of survivability. So Reaving Blows, the next skill, Arcane Supremacy, more magicka, more damage, more sustain, Deadly Aim, and Master at Arms. You can also, if you feel like you struggle, instead of Arcane Supremacy, you can use Ironclad, Reaving Blows, Ironclad, Deadly Aim, Master at Arms. This will provide 10% damage reduction from the direct damage, which is very nice. Now, the red tree, Boundless Vitality, Fortified, Rejuvenation, Siphoning Spells, basically generic red tree setup. So this is a build that will get you through all the arenas and any solo content, basically questing, overland, world bosses, anything you do solo. This is extremely effective, very easy to get. This is a base game dungeon, Dire Frost Keep. This is from Alikir Desert, really cheap in guild stores, and this is a craftable set. You can use the Newman Acolyte Inferno on the back bar infused, on the front bar sharpened, but if you just go to normal Maelstrom and get the normal Maelstrom Inferno staff, that will do just fine. I will be releasing Maelstrom Arena and Vateshran Arena guides in the future. So this is just a basic Magicka Sorcerer setup that you can use for those arenas. So I thank you for now, and I'll see you next time.